Okay, hi guys. We're going to today we're going to do a repair on this DeLonghi Magnifica S coffee machine. I'm not sure why they call it Magnifica. They're not particularly good. This is actually broken down twice on me. Died about a month after we got it. Been repaired by the official agent, but now about 18 months later, the handle up here has broken off on the steamer control handle here. So yeah, rather than muck around trying to take it in to get serviced, I decided I'll just get the part and do it myself. So it's only about $15 for a replacement handle here. So I'm just going to show you guys quickly taking this unit apart and putting this handle in and completing a repair on the unit. So let's dive straight into it. Just safety things first. Obviously this runs on mains voltage, so just be very careful if you've not done this sort of thing before. You don't want to be plugging this into power while you're working on it. High voltage could kill you. So anyway, let's jump straight into it and see if we can take it apart and get this part put in. Okay, so first obvious step is just take out all your various accessory pieces here and items that'll just remove immediately from the unit, and take out obviously your coffee beans out of the top, because if you want to tip this machine to move it around, you don't want your coffee beans flying everywhere. Okay guys, before I do continue, can I please ask that if you do find this video useful, please do click and subscribe to my channel down below, and also click the like button. That really helps my channel and allows me to keep making videos like this that are really helpful for you guys. So that'd be great. So let's carry on. Now next we're going to take this rear panel off here. Now there's just 5 screws here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to take out, but they are actually a special star-shaped torque screw here. So you will need a little tool like this, which is probably maybe out of focus here, but that's got a little star shape on it. So you'll need one of those to get into this screw. So if you haven't got one, buy a little set to do that. So take out all 5, and this panel will actually come off quite easily off the back. And now we have access to the rear here, and obviously to screws at the top here. Now just a little tip guys, when you're taking equipment apart like this, what I like to do is create a big long piece of upturned sticky tape here, and every time I take screws and items off, I stick them onto this tape, as you can see here, just in the order that we take things apart, so you don't lose things, and also you know exactly what order you've taken things out of the machine, so you can do it in reverse when you put it all back together. Just a handy little tip. Okay, next step here is we're going to take out these 2 little standard Phillips screws at the top here. I've already half done them here, so those 2 are now removed. So this top section here of plastic is now loose, so we'll put those on our little tape list here and turn the machine around to the front, and you'll see our side panels just come off here, which is fine, which is good. Okay, now we've turned around to look at the front of the machine again. There's 2 little Phillips screws up under here as well, so I've actually already loosened those out, so just unscrew those, 1 and 2. So now we're theoretically probably taking all the screws out that are holding this top attachment unit in here. So we'll pull off this front little dial as well. That comes straight off, pretty straightforward. And now what we're going to do is try and see if we can lever this whole top section off. Okay, I've rotated this machine around a bit so you can see better. Now that we've got these screws out from under the front here, I've just had my little torch here, quite handy to just go in and have a little bit of a look as I gently lift the top panel up here to see that everything's going to come apart okay. And what I have noticed on the side is, on the other side there is a screw on this side here and another one on this side here still holding this panel in. And you'll see that this panel on this side here has actually come apart quite easily, and we can actually completely remove that panel. It's come straight off. So we'll take that panel off on the side, and we will undo these 2 screws, this one and this one on this side down here that we can see also. Okay, now that we've taken these 2 little screws out on each side here, this entire unit section here is actually fully released, and just a little bit of gentle pulling and tugging, you'll find that this entire top section here is now ready to come off. The only thing that's actually holding us on now is the old handle here that we're trying to replace. So we're just going to have to try and do a bit of a jiggle here and figure out how we slide this out with this handle section here, and I have an idea on that. Right, so how do we get this top section off past this little handle, stem handle that we're actually going to replace and put the new one on. Now this, when it broke off, it was actually in the vertical position, so there was a little bit sticking up and stopping me slide this off. So I've just used a pair of pliers, not too worried about damaging this because it's coming off, and I've actually rotated that round to the steamer on position. And so now this little section sticking out this way. And what you'll find is that now, with a little bit of jiggling, this entire unit will come off, and voila, there we go. So now we've got full access to the handle that we need to replace. Right, so going for the close-up here, and this is the magic part here that we need to replace. How easy is it to do? Well, pretty darn easy. Just slide it straight off. It actually is on a spline, doesn't require much effort, and away you go. Obviously remember what angle it was that we just pulled off, which in fact was the handle horizontal. Okay, once we've removed the broken handle here and we go to put the new one on, there's a bit of a trick to this. Do not just shove this on here and then try and fit the cover over the top. I just tried that, it doesn't actually work, because of course this handle is too big to get through this fitting back onto the unit. So the trick here is there's actually a retainer ring that's on over this unit as well, and that clamps that very tight. I'm actually going to take that retainer ring off, and I'm not going to actually use it for two reasons. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassemble the top on here first, and then I'm simply going to slide and insert the replacement handle in like this without having that retainer clip, because you don't really need that retainer clip in there, and it does mean that if this breaks again, it's about $15 for another one of these, and you can simply pull it straight out and put another one in without taking the whole unit apart. So let's try that. I'm going to just clamp this top bit in here and then slide this onto the spline. Just note that this does go very tight onto the spline when you push it right in, so it can be quite a job to pull that back off, which is something I discovered when I just had to do that a moment ago. So just be cautious that in trying to pull that back off, if you ever do, that you don't break all of this unit in here, because there's quite a lot of force required to pull that off if you've pushed it right in on the spline. So let's try that. I'll put this on now. Okay, I have put the top back in place here, just jiggled everything in so it all just clips right in neatly. Just be aware when you push this back in here on the back, just make sure that you align the coffee adjustment dial here into the fitting underneath, and obviously just where the coffee feeds in the back. Just make sure that, jiggle that in and make sure that it aligns and locks in neatly. It's pretty simple, but just be aware of that. Now it's all sitting in neatly. I've just very lightly, obviously, as you can see, I've just put the new handle in on the spline there. So literally now that's just touching on the spline there, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a push. I'm actually not going to lock it in too hard, because there we go, I can still pull it out again. So now we have the ability to actually remove that entire handle without taking the complete unit apart, and there you go, works quite nicely like that. So we're all pretty good to go. So let's just put some of the screws back in here and get it back together. So of course we've got 3 sets of screws here, your 2 on your side here and this side, 2 up here in the front, pop those in, and the 2 into the back up the top here. It doesn't really matter which order you do these, so I'll screw those all in now, and then we can do the side panels. Okay, the top panel's all reattached and complete, just the side panels to put on now. Now these side panels, if you take this one here, they're designed to clip in underneath and slide forward to lock in. I've actually broken several of the little clips here where they lock in, but it's not really going to affect it. It's not going to fall apart because it still slots up underneath. These little fittings do tend to break on equipment like this sometimes when you take them apart and you don't have the service manual to tell you exactly which way to push things as you do it. So I've just clipped it into place there, and then push it forward slightly, and you'll see that panel's just clipped into place. So now we'll whip over to the other side and we'll see if we can do exactly the same with the panel on this side. And we've actually still got our clips are pretty much intact here as well, which is a bonus. So we'll do the same thing here, and we will gently put that top panel in there, and again it is, you slide the panel up in and then forward like this, and this one is actually slotted in very nicely and easily. I would make note here that when the service people fixed this the first time it broke, they didn't even put this panel in properly. It was all pushed in. Not very good for a service job, so we've done a better job ourselves. So that's now in place, and now it's just a case of screwing back on the back panel, if I can find it here. There it is, back panel. Once again, with this panel, it'll slip in pretty simply here from the bottom, from slightly below the top, pop it in and get our cable out of the way. And very gently, that will actually slot straight in, and we'll put our 5 screws back in place. We'll do that right now. Okay, the back panel's back on. It's pretty much all back together now. The only thing left to do is to put on our little dial on the front. Now I've got this fully rotated to the minimum position with that little rotator there. So the easy way to slot this in here with a little bit of light, gentle pressure and rotate around to where it will just drop straight into its clip position, and you're back in business. So there we go, your rotation's working. Your top dial here, we checked that, which adjusts your coffee bean flow before we put everything back together on the side as well. So there you have it, that's the whole unit fixed. New handle. I mean, that took me a bit longer because I was doing this video for you guys. Once again, do subscribe and click the like button for that. And but you know, for about $18, $15 for this part, probably half an hour's work, probably less time than it takes you to drive it down and take it to the service agent and go and pick it up afterwards. So there you go, and you know it's been done properly. And if you have a problem again in the future, you can just pull that out and stick another one in, or fix the other spare one you had, or away you go. So I hope you found that useful, guys, and again, please check out some of my other videos. See ya.